Hello, welcome to today's vlog for the second half or the second week of July. Last week I said that I was going to talk about something that hopefully will benefit somebody if they were in the position I was in a few weeks back. Um, and every Sunday there's a vlog, and the reason this one is literally on the threshold of midnight is because I've had to meditate just to build up the sort of courage to talk about this, because it was quite difficult for me, what I had to go through. So um, it's, yeah, you have to bear with me. Sorry, because it's a little bit emotional. So like I said last week, because of the whole COVID furlough thing in the UK, um, I was still on a furlough basis, and because of the place I was in, my furlough payments were actually exceeding the limitations of the accommodation requirements, if that makes sense. So I'm only allowed to earn so much money because I live where I live, and if I exceed it, then I have to go. And because I was on furlough, not in control of how much money I was being given, because it was all dictated by the government, it exceeded the 16 hours of money that I was allowed to earn. And like since January of this year, my rent that is paid for by the council on my behalf because of the situation I'm in wasn't being paid to my landlord. And so, as you can imagine, when the landlords in the UK were given the go ahead to, okay, you can evict tenants now, the lockdown is over, this dude jumped on them straight away and was like 7 day issue. And at first they didn't want to give it to me because they were like, I think there's still something that can be done here because this isn't your fault. And so they went away, but from what I understand is that the caseworker who came to see me that day should have handed me that eviction 7 day eviction order, because things were already in process from the landlord's point of view with like the council. And so a week later they came back with, yeah, dude, you're gonna have to go. This was like the 21st of June, I think. I can't really remember. um it was like a Thursday, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, and so like they were like 6 p.m. You got to be gone, and I'm like, oh, what? This is ridiculous. And it's like, well, don't worry, you're not going to be on the streets. There's a number, a shelter number, and an address that you can go to, and stay at a shelter, so you'll have somewhere at least. And I'm like, okay, okay. So I literally just packed a bag, and put my waterproof coat on because you never know. I'm so glad I did that, and set out to go to this shelter place, and I took one look at this place and was like, I don't look homeless. I don't look like I belong here. I look like I'm gonna get beaten up and everything stolen off me. The people who were queuing up to get into the shelter did look like they were homeless. It really scared me. Um, and I was like, I can't stay here. And I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go like to my mom's or anything, um, because I'm on a list for a housing with the Birmingham City Council. And if I basically move in with somebody, go anywhere, even if it's just for a week, I go down lower in priority for this list. It's so honestly, it's just so ridiculous. Anyway, basically, I was in a position where I found myself literally, right. That's it. I'm on the streets. But the caseworker who for me here was like, um, we're gonna hold this room of yours for a week, and we're gonna give like you an opportunity, because like if you can get a job that's 16 hours or more, 16 hours or less, sorry, then you will meet the requirements needed to stay in where you are. And so therefore, um, you know, you'll be fine to move back in. but unfortunately, obviously, you know, you'll have to go to that shelter in the meantime, because if you can't find a job or whatever, you know, if you can't change how much money you're earning, then we will give this room to the next person who needs it, you know. So they gave me 7 days basically, and I tell you, man, that I I I I stayed in the area that I knew, because you like I don't know, I didn't want to go to an area I didn't know, so I stayed in the area that I knew, and telling you that it was pretty scary the first night, right? If you're ever in a situation where you have to stay outside, right? Man, make sure you got a coat on, right? Make sure it ain't winter time. Like, I'm so glad this happened in July or June. It was, sorry. I'm so glad it happened in the summertime, because there is no way I could have done this in the winter time. No way. I would have gone, like, forget this. I will go to my mom's or something, because although there's no room, I wouldn't have been able to go. But um, it's not what you think. You know, people think like it's hard, it's horrific or whatever, but it ain't anything like that. You think the worst, it's worse than that, right? It's the psychologicalness uh, of being there and going like, how did I get here, and like, why me, you know, and like, I don't know what the future holds, you know. It's um it's very hard, but for me, I was in a better position because I had money in my bank account, I had money in my pocket. So I went to a shop and I bought two more battery banks for my phone, because my phone was my lifeline. You know, it had like, I can pay items with this. I can contact people. They can contact me. Like, if I don't have this phone, man, I'm fucked. You know. So I wanted to keep the charge on it, right? So I mean, I packed my charging cable for my phone, and I bought two more battery banks, which, like, there's one attached to my phone already, and then I got two more, so they were all, you know, fully charged once I charged them, which I did on the train, because if you go long distance on a train, man, they've got the USB ports that you can charge your phone on. They don't do it on local train lines. You have to go national if you want to charge your phone. So I got a ticket just to charge my phone. Like, I found myself thinking of, like, um, like, okay, so I need to clean myself. I go to Mackey's for breakfast. They've got a toilet. I can use the toilet. I can clean myself. I can look presentable in case somebody, if I got to go for like a job interview. And that's what I did for like the first 3 days, spending my days going in all the areas, all the little areas of towns, you know, around where I lived, or where I did live, um, and basically in every shop going like, you know, got any work, mate? Got any jobs going? And like a handful of them were like, yeah, I'll ring you, give us your number, I'll ring you if something comes up. Or there was only a couple that actually said like, you know what, yeah, I'll let you know like in a couple of days time. um but like, again, the reason I'm sort of saying all this is because this furlough scheme is what fucked me over, right? And it is a government scheme, right? And there's like a loophole in this whole thing where, you know, if somebody is in an accommodation like mine, and they're still on a furlough, which means they're earning more than they should for living there, then, you know, the landlord can't claim the rent on behalf of that person. So, and because I have a caseworker, my rent is mental. It's like 200, what was it? They said £260 a week or something. It's mental, right? There's no way I could afford it on my own. And so, if the landlord ain't getting paid, he don't want that person obviously there. He wants to get paid. So, they have every right to evict, but they can't obviously make you homeless, so they push you onto a shelter. And there must be thousands or hundreds or a lot of people in the UK in my situation, you know, who are facing going into these shelters. And I tell you, man, it ain't a pretty sight if you've never had to do this before, you know. It ain't it's not something I'd wish an experience on. It's not like going to the Bear Grylls Adventure Park in Birmingham, where you go and try and yeah, the scaling the walls and stuff like that. It ain't like that, man. It's not like a camping holiday, man. This no, it's totally different. I found myself avoiding the police, is what I found myself doing, because the first couple of days, like, you sit down, you have something to eat, right? And if you're in a spot which isn't like a park, or which is just an open area, police come up to you, man, and they're like, "Are you all right? Are you okay? Everything okay?" And like, you're like, "Yeah, just sitting here, whatever." And there was one time when honestly, a police was like, Do you need a place to sleep?" I was like, and honestly, they took me and they drove me to the shelter. And so I found myself avoiding the policeman because obviously I didn't want to go. And I waited outside, and I walked in, used the toilet, legged it out. You think the police there are to help you, man, but you find that they're not. Like, well, they are, but you don't want them to, you know. And I met some people as well, right, in this experience of mine. I met some people, and I tell you this now: anybody who is asking for money is doing it to feed an addiction. Anybody who just sits there and doesn't ask for anything, man, they're approachable and they're good. They're a good person. Somebody who's asking for money, more often than not, is they've got an addiction to feed, whatever it may be, and they're not nice people, you know. Anyway, there's like 3 or 4 days into this, and I was like, do you know what? I can't stay in this area, because it's like, even like under a bridge where you think I'm hidden here, nobody can see me. It's like I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I'm gonna. Anyway, so I just went to a location where I felt safe, that I knew, away from people. Um, it's just a wooded area basically, and um, do you know what? There's one thing, if you find yourself in this situation, that you need to have, and that's a constant, right? Something or somebody who is constantly there, or is. I had one person, right? Because I had my phone and I was still able to contact like the Discord group. There was one person who was messaging me through Discord, continually giving me positive advice. And I'm telling you now, it's only down to that person who is the reason why nothing happened to me. Like, as in, I was okay. I was like, I remember saying a while, like a few weeks back, like I'd never kill myself, right? But you honestly don't realize how low your mentality goes until you go that low. So you can't perceive yourself doing something until you're in that position and that low enough to just like go, yeah, this don't really matter. Like, this is too painful. to be here, and logic goes out the window, and like you just think of reasons to go, this is justified. And there was a couple of times when I seriously was at that moment of like, you know what? Yeah, let's two steps in front of this bus here, or this lorry, sorry, and that pain's gone, and you know, my troubles are over. But there was one person who kept my morale, my spirits, my energy positive, and having a constant, having somebody is so important. Something I learned from the therapist, to be honest, was to talk. It's good to talk. It's good to communicate. It's the only way to resolve, through communication. And like this, that's why I'm doing these vlogs, is to resolve my own feelings of how I felt a few weeks ago, which was like off the back of something that happened pretty bad, off the back of something else that happened pretty bad, that I got counseled for. And I went through a depression in my life, and I got counseled for it, and I thought I was okay. But then I came up against an even bigger brick wall, because I was unaware of things that were happening around me or behind my back. That hit me even harder, and like really got me in the heart. Got oh, it dragged me down again. And it was, I I'm so lucky that I went through that counseling, because they gave me the tools and the skills to be able to at least like calm and get over like hurdles in my life. And if I hadn't have gone through that therapy, I tell you, it would have been so hard to get over the negativity that happened around me. Like the second time, it would have been even hard. It was even harder. I'll talk in the future vlogs about this therapy that honestly, there's a lot of positive. Oh man, my stomach hurts. There's a lot of positive things that can be said that would be beneficial, you know, like how you eat your foods, how to like meditate to calm yourself, which I'm so glad that I had that. So glad I had that, because every time I feel a panic attack coming on, which I can feel now, the doing the meditating really does help. Really does help. And if I didn't, I'm so lucky that I had that experience, because if I didn't, I don't know what I don't know what would be. This isn't like I haven't well thought this out, this vlog, to be honest. I'm hoping somebody will benefit from it. I'm hoping somebody who is in a situation like I was will benefit, because I say, like, there was a person who helped me and got me through. There was a person who was like a constant, who was feeding me positive advice and going, dude, you'll get through this. And just, you know, like, oh man, I really need to pull up some of the words that person was saying, because it was honestly, it was really, let me find it. There it is. Right. So, um, focus on the things that you can change in your life. Don't focus on anything that is a distraction that will eat at you. Don't go down the road of things that you can't change. Concentrate and focus on what you can change and work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And this time, change your current life situation from dire to anything better than that. One step further is a positive change. Um, it takes 1,000 knockbacks before you get that one step forward, and then you can accept it and smile and move on and try again and again and again, and and create that inner strength, and you'll succeed. And you just have to keep trying and never give up. It was words like that that really, man, you take things for granted, right? Really, you do. Like, everybody who's got a partner right now, everybody who has got a partner at home, man, you're taking them for granted. Okay, be so grateful and thankful that that person is there, you know, that that person is right there with you, you know, and do everything you can to make their life better and happy. Because, like, when you turn up to work and suddenly your boss will go, we don't need you anymore, or when suddenly a family member will pass away, or God forbid a sibling will have an accident, or, you know, suddenly your landlord turns to you and says you've got to go. Any one of these things is a massive setback. But when you've got your partner with you, man, you've got a shoulder to lean up against, or you've got somebody to put their arm around you and just give you, even just give you a hug. But you've got that person there with you to go through hard times together with, right? And if you haven't never been through hard times with a partner, man, you're so lucky. Honestly, you're so lucky. You don't realize how hard anything is in life until you're facing this, like, on your own. And, like, there's, like, I don't know, there's like two levels of being on your own, man. You know, there's, like, you're on your own when you go to the toilet, man. There's nobody around you. Nobody around you, that's one level. But the other level is when you have no option of anybody either. Like, because, you know, they're not with you at that point in time, you know? That's another level of loneliness, man. And having a constant in your life, having that partner, that person, is for your mindset, for your personalities, it, like, inner positiveness. It's like so important to keep you moving forward, you know, and go, I'm gonna give up now. It's like, that doesn't happen when you've got somebody there every day, man. Make sure that partner knows that they're number one. I'm telling you, make sure that that partner knows that they are appreciated, you know, they are loved, they are, because they're there, you know. I'm trying to think what would be beneficial to somebody who is in my situation. Don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on, like that friend of mine said, like, things you can't change, you know. Think on things that can change. Like, for me, my focus was, man, I gotta find somebody to employ me, so I can then go back to where I came from and stay. And I gotta find somebody who will help me get out of this situation. But at the end of the day, man, you can only help yourself. And Do you know what? I'm glad that I went through this. Like, FYI, I literally the last seventh day I got a call back from somebody that I'd popped into like on like midway through this, and they were like, "Yeah, um, come by tomorrow and at this time, and we'll start you, start you off." And man, as soon as I got that call, I contacted my caseworker and contacted them, and they were like, "Well, meet us at this address, on Monday, and we'll we'll move things forward then if it's true, if it's legit." And it took till Wednesday, but then like, yeah, got a call to say, "Come get your keys, man." I mean, anybody who's in that situation, man, take the shelter, man. Take the shelter, no matter how scary it is, because the alternate is far more scarier. You know, because it's every night is an uncertainty, really, and especially if it's going to be cold or weather, raining. I think I was lucky because it only rained one night. I think I was lucky, but man, there must be thousands of people in this situation, thousands of people, because of this furlough scheme. And I know that Boris said he was lowering the amount of the furlough in August and then September, and I think September is when it ends anyway. So, but so many people must be put in the same situation I was in. You know, I mean, even my caseworker was saying that other people in other addresses was the same deal. Um, it's keeping positive, and having a constant. That's the one thing that'll get you through. Staying positive and having a constant. That constant can be somebody on the end of a phone, somebody in person, something that keeps you positive and keeps you moving forward to get out of the situation you're in and to better that situation. That's your constant. And they're so important. Man, I don't know if I'll keep this video, to be honest. I really don't know how much help this is going to be to anybody. But I mean, this is like, to be honest, I'm talking about this really for myself, because I need to mentally move past that and be able to talk about it. I was talking with somebody, and they kind of jumped me on what happened, and I wasn't ready for it, and I was really, really like getting through my words, like, it was really hard to talk about it. And this is the one thing that the therapist was saying, like, you have to talk, you have to communicate, you can't just like ignore or bottle things up. You have to get it out, to resolve it. you know um and it's okay to talk about things. It's okay to get over, or talk about painful things that have happened. There is nothing wrong with like opening up and talking. And in the absence of anybody, then or saying that though, we've got a number for a counselor. But in the absence of anybody, like right here right now, you know the partner situation, then these vlogs fill that for me. These vlogs are that way to resolve moving forward. And that's why every week, every Sunday, I will do it. It will take place during the day next time. Ain't gonna be any painful subjects to talk about again. Yeah, do you know what? I'm glad I had that experience. I'm glad that I went through it. I would never want to do it again, and so I'd make sure it didn't happen again. But if it ever did, God forbid, I'd be in a position mentally to be prepared for it. And for that, I'm grateful that I had that opportunity. Because man, who else is ever gonna say this in their life? Like I had the opportunity to be rough it on the streets for a week. Like you don't. Nobody has that opportunity to say that unless they choose to do it. Like, you know, it's like another thing on the bucket list, I guess, if you've got that on your bucket list. Um, yeah. So next week, next Sunday, actually next Sunday, there's a live read of Fight and Fantasy um, on the YouTube channel. So, but there'll also be a vlog of what's been happening in the week, and I'll talk about my experience with like the therapist or the counseling, because I think that's also going to benefit a lot of people. I think, man, definitely go check out their YouTube channel. I'm telling you, man, definitely go check out their. I'll put a link in next week's video to their YouTube channel and go watch their videos and go, honestly, go sign up, man. Next year you can go and sign up to go in the retreat, man. They don't open till next year. They're kind of like closed to public this year for people like myself, but for next year you can go and book in, man. And I'll put the link in the description box of next week's video. It honestly they yeah. Anyway, talk about that next week. Um, I hope this is beneficial for somebody. I hope. I feel like I've been rambling. I really do. Right. Okay. I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching this. If you got this far, man, put butter down in the description, in the comments down below. If you got this far, put butter down below. And if you're watching right now, don't put butter. But actually, no, do put butter. You know. But thank you so much if you're watching this on the replay, and I hope it's of benefit for anybody else who is in this situation. And if you know anybody who is in this situation or about to approach the situation, man, show them this video, because I came out the other end. I came out the other side of that. So it's possible. Anything's possible, you know. Wargaming Dad, man. Thank you. Butter. Right. Anyway, we didn't win the Euros, guys. So it ain't coming home. It's coming Rome. And I'm off now myself. And in fact, I think there's actually going to be a video going live in about 22 minutes on this channel. So if you're into flight simulation, man, check it out in 22 minutes time. Other than that, I'll see everybody next week.